Ahoy, fellow flower pickers.
And welcome aboard The Joy of Trek, a morally grey podcast exploring the transporter accidents and crossbreeds of Star Trek. All of it. I'm Cocky.
I'm Kay.
And begging Cocky and Kay for my right to live is your chief engineer, Greg.
Together, we're on a mission through 30 years of people arguing over Janeway's choice of Star Trek to find the threesome in every relationship and the excellence in every episode.
Even the overachieving officers.
Because every episode must be someone's favorite, and it might as well be ours.
So please give us a lighter Voyager episode to talk about. Come on, we'll slip you a $5 if you do, and join us as we argue into the joy of Trek.
Well, has it been? It has been 30 years, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, it's difficult to think about. You know, you can feel your bones crumbling into dust sometimes when you
Yes.
when you realize that, oh, my boss was conceived after The Matrix came out.
Okay. I mean, yes, it's not wrong.
These are perfectly reasonable things that happen. You know, people's careers progress at different rates in their lives, and
So,
their lives also progress in funny ways, as per this episode.
and you, good listener, have you guessed which episode we are doing this week? That's right. It's Voyager 224, Tuvix.
First aired May 6, 1996. Okay, so not quite 30 years, although you never know with the temporal vortex that we're in.
True.
Written by Andrew Shepard Price and Mark Gaberman. Teleplay by Kenneth Biller. Oh, and directed by Cliff Bowl. This is a tricky one, because what happened in the episode Tuvix, Kay, in your perspective?
Oh. I can go really blunt and decide that Janeway single-handedly murders a new crew member, but...
Right. All right, yeah.
But that would be very accurate, and, you know, hard to say. I mean, it's always hard to make fun of the serious episodes.
I know. Okay, Chief, what actually happens in Tuvix?
After a transporter malfunction, Tuvok and Neelix are merged into a single being. In the search for a way to restore them to their original forms, a moral dilemma is faced as the new being does not want to be terminated.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. So, do we have a morally debatable decisions which are being made here? And, I mean, okay, to cut to the chase, props to Janeway for handling it herself.
Yeah, right? Yes. Yeah. Okay, so this episode, we're going to talk about it. I think this is one of the most vehemently discussed episodes of Star Trek, at least up to then, and probably still now, where...
I can see why, yes.
Right? Everyone leaves this episode with a hang on, wait, hold on, let me think about this for a second, and a strong desire to mention it.
I'm afraid I don't.
Well, that was entirely accidental. Do we have any warp cores to breach?
I mean, like, the whole point is that it's at a moral dilemma or quasi-dilemma. Like, is it in fact a dilemma? Or are there other options? But yeah, the whole difficulty is the point of the episode.
Right, yes.
And...
So you can't fault them for, like, doing something like that, because, like, they clearly intended to make a statement about it.
And there are no good outcomes.
No.
And, like, it's not even a statement by Star Trek, because, like, whatever story the writers may have wanted to tell, Ethan Phillips and Tim Russ were under contract.
Oh, what do you mean? To play?
Yeah, they had multi-season contracts that they'd signed, so just from a purely fiscal production point of view...
Oh, right, I see what you mean.
You're not actually going to get rid of two of your successful leads.
Good point, yes. Because who did they bring in as the actor to play Tuvix?
The gentleman is called Tom Wright. He hadn't done any prior Star Trek, but he did come back as one of the Nakul aliens, the Nazi aliens at the start of season 4 of Enterprise.
Right.
Now, he is a longtime friend of Tim Russ, and he'd done a play with Ethan Phillips.
Oh, okay.
So when he came in to audition, which was not the first time that he'd auditioned for the same roles as either Tim Russ or Ethan Phillips, but it was the first time that he was auditioning for basically them too.
Yes.
And he hadn't seen any Star Trek or even Voyager at the time, he decided to do this audition just based on his buddy Tim and his acquaintance Ethan.
Yeah.
And he did it.
I mean, yeah.
I think he did a great job.
Yes. I mean, it was like I was specifically trying to watch for particular kinds of behavior that
either Tuvok or Neelix.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
part of that, of course, on the writers to make sure that certain choices of phrase or exclamations were included.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's not Tuvok and Neelix.
No,
he's his own thing.
Oh, yes,
right. Those fusions are their own thing, and he was very much written to, or the goal Cliff Bole, the director, and Tom Wright had was you had to love Tuvix, right?
Right. Yes.
The story just wouldn't work if you didn't like him. That was even spoiled in this teaser clip from the UPN network that I was able to find archived.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Then.
So no visual component, but here comes the teaser trailer.
He's logical.
I do possess Tuvok's knowledge and expertise.
He's emotional.
Doesn't anyone see that this is wrong?
He's passionate.
I love you, Cass.
You'll want to watch him every week. There's only one problem. To keep him on board, you'll have to sacrifice 2 of your favorite crew members.
What you're considering is an execution.
Prepare to have your allegiances split and your emotions torn apart on a special Star Trek Voyager.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very cheeky, and it's also very, like, of the mid-90s, a special Star Trek Voyager, right? This one will really...
Is it a special edition, or it's like, are we doing Shark Week, or...
Exactly. No, God, it's so... Like, Voyager was really bad for that because it was launching on a brand new network, UPN. And networks were still sometimes doing, Shark Week, they were doing theme weeks. So that's why, here comes WrestleMania week. So you're getting Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on Voyager. Do something with him.
Yeah.
And suddenly...
Preferably something wrestling-themed.
Exactly. And that's how you get Tonkatsu. There was also the brilliant Star Trek Voyager Dark Desire week, which I don't even remember which episode that was there, but...
Sure, I'll take your word for it.
So those were the days. We do have...
Oh, who did
Yeah, exactly. Wait, what did people think of this episode?
Let's get that question because I forgot to do my homework.
Oh, no! The episode that more people than anyone...
I know,
right? My God! Kay! I bumped into so many questions about exactly this that I dodged because I was supposed to be, oh, no, that's Kay.
I totally forgot to do my homework.
Okay, well, I can tell you
yes
that this is one of the most discussed episodes, and it was tackled by people from like a legal perspective. It was also discussed as a moral quasi-dilemma, because a dilemma, by definition of the word, there have to be 2 options.
Oh, right, yes.
Which, are there only 2 options? There's no time pressure to detach Tuvix. Right, so... There are possible other options. So that's why it might be a quasi-dilemma. But also, we really can't get around the fact that this was the 90s and having a girl in charge was still a human. Well, unfortunately, that's not in the past, but...
Oh, you mean Janeway, yeah?
Yes, a lot of criticism of Janeway is really inextricable from, like, misogyny that was going on. There are perfectly reasonable arguments to be made as well, but those weren't the norm.
Right.
Certainly at the time.
But I failed to see what were the arguments that they gave. What's like, I mean, I have a hard time imagining a particular misogynic reason to disagree with her choice.
Oh, I mean, I disagree with Janeway's choice.
Right.
I think that she committed murder. Like, that's my philosophical framework, right?
Yeah.
Sure. You could have given this to Chidi Anagonye from the Good Place and got a really interesting dilemma. I think 2 people had died, and then she killed someone, right? The timeline. From my perspective, Tuvok and Neelix had already died. This stuff just happened, and it did, in fact, happen.
Right.
The way I see it, imagine if they then found an alien in their travels who they discovered, if you scoop out his brains and, smear it over 2 corpses that have only been dead for a few weeks, the corpses come back to life. So why don't we just strangle this alien, scoop out his brains, and use it to bring You wouldn't do that, right? That's not a Star Trek thing to do. And that's where I think, but that's my opinion. Right. And I'm not stuck in the Delta Quadrant.
Also true.
In fact, hey, Kay, I can tell you some other people's opinions. I have some other people who have opinions, and they're also in Star Trek.
Oh.
Because the season 4 opener of Lower Decks is called Tuvix.
Right.
TWOVIX.
Okay.
where there's another transporter accident with that same flower.
Right.
Imagine that.
Uh-huh.
And Captain Freeman...
They brought it back from the Delta Quadrant, I
This is
presume.
all sorts of stuff with, like,
Right.
Voyager is a museum, and they wanted to have, like,
Right.
artifacts from various things that happen, and stuff goes wrong. You know how they do on lower decks. And someone accidentally gets, as they call it, Tuvixed.
Okay.
And Freeman goes, okay, well, this happened before. I'll just look up how Janeway solved it.
Yeah.
Beep, beep, beep. Let me see. Here's Shax coming in to ask the captain how it's going.
Did Janeway figure it out?
No, she just murdered him.
Well, there has to be more to it.
She isolated the genomes and split him up. He begged her to live.
Holy sh! Janeway didn't mess around.
I don't want to kill the guy. I mean, he didn't do anything wrong.
We aren't stranded in the Delta Quadrant. We could take him to Earth and get some help.
Good call. Let's hurry.
See? There we go. That was something that Janeway didn't have available to her.
Very true, yeah. Yeah, and she had, like, okay, I mean, like, at least, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves and discuss
I know, but we're doing the thing that everyone has always done in Star Trek fandom. The word Tuvix comes up in a chat. You know you can just mute it for the next 3 hours because it's going to be bing, 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 bing. And
fair.
That's the hallmark of, I think, a great story. So I'm really glad this was recommended by Alex Russet, who said, I'm honestly shocked that this hasn't shown up in the podcast yet. It's the perfect fit for what you're doing. This episode is fascinating to me. At its very core, it's a trolley problem. Yeah, that's right.
In a way, yes.
Yeah. Save the lives of 2 for the cost of 1, or preserve the 1 at the cost of 2. Both sides have valid points, but equally are both flawed responses to a situation with no truly correct response. And while it was fairly obvious which options would be chosen, because Tim Russ and Ethan Phillips had bills to pay,
yeah,
it still hit hard. Not every option is black and white. How much is a life worth? Do the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few? I think the fandom as a whole settled on Team Tuvix, myself included, but I think this episode is captivating from a series famous for its moralizing.
Yeah. Very good point.
Very good point. Thank you, Alex Russet. This was a great recommendation.
So the fandom settled on Team Tuvix. Interesting. That they believe that they should have kept him alive.
Yeah. Which I think is also, from it is unfortunate that a lot of Janeway haters are of this opinion. So that's why I mentioned, there's, and I don't know what proportion that is. I'm also on Team Tuvix, but I don't think Janeway made a bad decision.
No.
She had a decision to make, and who knows how the rest of the show would have turned out.
Oh, very
if
true.
She'd made any other.
It might have been a good way to get rid of 2 actors and replace them with a third. Like, get an in-universe good reason to, not necessarily
if a cast change was needed.
Right, exactly, yeah. That would have been a way to do it. But, in this case, it was clearly just meant as a standalone episode with a moral dilemma at its core.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So, let us go and into the episode.
Okay. And now, this episode starts with what I consider one of the stupidest premises, which is this.
Our sensors have located a variety of flour, which may prove to be a valuable nutritional supplement.
How do sensors do this? And also, how are flowers a valuable nutritional supplement?
Maybe they might have micronutrients in them that they need.
All right. Okay, but then your sensors would tell you that it was on the planet. I mean, why would it have those nutrients in it if it wasn't already in the soil, and wouldn't it be easier to harvest? I know. I'm just looking for some other dilemma to really argue about and distract us from the big one.
Well, I mean, my dilemma here can be really boiled down to one thing, whether I'm on Team Tuvix or not. Am I willing to pay the price to lose Tuvok to lose Neelix?
This is a third component.
Because my first note I have is written on, God, Neelix is annoying.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to have to defend Neelix, right? I'm on Team Neelix, who is a space creep. His relationship with Kes was poorly written, I think, to begin with, and is not like beacon of romance, but I'm gonna be defending him because he's just this little guy.
I know, but like this whole first scene with Tuvok is like, I just like find his mannerisms and behavior just really annoying. The way he is like egging Tuvok on. Like, he knows what Tuvok is like. He knows he's a bloody cold, logic-minded Vulcan.
Yes, because they're arguing here. He's saying,
"Oh, it's an exhilarating day, isn't it?"
But
as you well know by now, Mr. Neelix, I do not experience exhilaration.
He does experience exasperation, though, it seems.
Yeah. So clearly, there's something there. I read this as Neelix. Yes, he knows Tuvok, although it's only been 2 seasons at this point. Mm-hmm. It's the end of season 2.
Yeah.
So not that long. But, he's learned enough about this man to know, okay, you're into botany. You like nature. These are things to be joyful about. You should have looked forward to this, even if you don't, express these emotions.
Sure, but maybe he has. But, yeah. And then he keeps trying to goad him into expressing them, or just, yeah. I don't know. He's just a bit. I just found Neelix exceptionally annoying. I mean, I found Neelix annoying on a good day.
I think he's a very good influence on Tuvok, who needs this.
This might be a good argument. I mean, he's morale officering very hard here.
Yeah, although he's also needling a little bit. Here he says,
"You're acting more Tuvokian than usual this morning."
I am who I am, he says. Although he then does add,
I think you could possibly behave a little less like yourself.
I mean, kind of throwing it back at him, yeah.
Because that would make him more comfortable.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. So there's a little glitch in the molecular imaging scanners, which turns out to be a red herring, because it had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. And when the 2 signals merge on the arrive on the transporter pad, only a single pad is activated.
Yeah, what happens to the rest of the biomatter?
Yeah. Now, this was something that I saw when I did your homework, which was people complaining about the scientific, or not complaining, but scientific consultants observing, this doesn't, the conservation of mass. Also, how do you merge 2 completely different organisms with different organs?
Right. I mean, he did get prodded in organs that he wasn't aware that he had, so that makes sense.
Okay, so not everybody keeps their genitals in the same place, and then you get merged and they're in the 3rd place.
Do they accidentally have the same number of chromosomal pairs?
That's the other thing.
Yeah,
DNA is wild. Although this was also in the mid-90s, where I believe, as it was explained, at that time, scientists were not able to distinguish chimpanzee DNA from human.
Oh, okay.
That
because it's like 96% the same, or even more than that, yeah.
And there were just analytical tools weren't available yet, and the Human Genome Project wasn't complete.
Fair, yeah.
And also, I want to jump into Voyager's defense here, because Voyager has had some wild episodes that I kind of wish they'd leaned into more.
Okay. Yeah.
Sort of silver age of science fiction stories, astounding tales from outer space where people age in reverse. They're born old and they die young, or when their corpses transfer to a different parallel world. All these things are just absolutely insane. But if you take them as a premise and you treat them seriously, you get amazing stories out of them.
Mm.
So the idea that a flower could merge 2 other beings, completely ludicrous.
Yeah.
Yet,
sure. I mean, this is a sci-fi show and it has a premise. We do get I must say, they did do a very good job of getting Tuvix to look the way he did. I mean,
the makeup.
Yeah, the very, very good merge job of the 2 actors, I'll say.
Yeah, a great prosthetic, sort of gently pointed ears, but also the faint spots.
Yeah, and the kind of the fuzzy little thing that Neelix has on his cheek, kind of
like wispy hair.
Yeah.
But Tuvok is a person with more spiral-shaped hair, so it's denser and he keeps it shorter. Mm-hmm. But so what would that look like if it was more relaxed, like Neelix's was, and less dense? It's a great look. I've got to say, love looking at him. There's something, to my eyes, there's something sort of goblin-y about him, which always makes me, or maybe it's just the eyes.
I don't know. I think the ears are a bit weird. It kind of looks a bit fishy, as in,
I get you. Yeah.
Piscean. Is that a word?
No.
It isn't.
No. Piscean. That's not even. Wait, are you going for Pisces?
Yes.
Okay. Piscean? That's worse.
Pescatarian.
I don't like saying those words.
Yes, although a friend of mine refers to himself as a pescatarian.
Oh, and I bet I know which one. But very calmly he says,
I think the logical thing is for me to go to sickbay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so down we go.
Yep, he actually says it.
I'm Lieutenant Tuvok.
And I'm Neelix.
Sir.
I love how Lieutenant or Ensign What's-His-Face does. He does a great horrified expression. It's like he doesn't quite come out in the Jeeves, but yeah, his look of horror at the sight.
The transporter. Yeah. I don't know what his name is, but he's very perplexed. Like
very much so. Yeah, wide-eyed, open-mouthed.
Like, oh God, I had such a terrible performance review, and they said if I fuck up the transporter one more time, I'm off the ship. And oh my God, is this my fault? Oh my God,
did I do this? Yes. But yes, the Doctor comes to.
You see before you is literally a fusion of two men.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? Yeah, there's a little bit of techno-bubble, blah, 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 about what happened. Yes, that the Orchid did the fusion and everything. There's a little bit more discussion about that later. But yeah, it's entirely irrelevant what or how. This is like...
right, yes, exactly. This is the premise, and now you have to deal with it. I think it was really well done on the part of the writers to give Tuvix dialogue that would solve the most pressing questions for us. Like, how do the memories work in his brain?
Yeah.
Well, you sort of hear that when he talks about...
We, that is to say, Tuvok and Neelix, we had just finished gathering the samples.
So, right, he has these... Yeah. It must be so weird for him to remember the same event from multiple...
Oh, yeah, I hadn't even considered that part, yeah. It's like just having two sets of memories to fall back on. It would be one thing, but then, yeah, remembering the party that got erased from the Doctor's memory. From from both Neelix's and from Tuvok's point of view. That must be confusing.
Then again, like, I don't really remember things through my eyes, right?
No, very good point, yeah.
I remember things, the way medieval painters used to like paint the information, not using perspective, even though that wasn't that difficult, and although the science hadn't been worked out, it was possible to do stuff with it.
Right, yes.
But instead, you just paint how it is. Isometric view.
Sure.
Because the facts matter.
Cass is immediately very wary of Tuvix. As Chakotay later says, like...
There's an old axiom. The whole is never greater than the sum of its parts.
She clearly thinks of the total being less than the sum of its parts.
She is still in a relationship with both men at this point, in different relationships.
Right, yes.
Romantic with Neelix.
Yeah.
And Tuvok's an important spiritual and telepathic mentor.
Right, yes.
As she's discovering what her Ocampan brain is capable of.
But yes, he settles on a name very quickly.
Why don't you call me Nivok? Wait, this is better. How about Tuvix?
In a scene where she also asks him, like, do you feel, is there internal dialogue?
Right, yeah.
Right, do you have you have these memories, do you have two minds? And he goes, no, I'm just me,
No, very true. And he wants to get back to work.
In the past 24 hours, I've undergone rigorous diagnostic testing, submitted to an extensive psychological profile, and I've been poked and prodded in organs that I didn't even know I had.
And I've decided that I will be the tactical officer. And she's like, she doesn't seem to like that. She seems like, I don't know, like maybe she feels that he's making her decisions.
Well, he's making a suggestion that, for an officer would be totally reasonable, but she doesn't acknowledge him yet. She still has to consider, do you deserve lieutenant rank, which Neelix didn't have, and Tuvok, you're not Tuvok.
Yeah.
So that's not an automatic decision.
No.
And maybe, this is space weird stuff.
Yeah, do we even trust you? Which is...
Yeah. Yeah, a question that is sort of sidestepped because she gets additional... She gets additional encouragement from the Doctor.
If I may, Captain.
Yeah. Who wants to point out that...
He also possesses Tuvok's irritating sense of intellectual superiority and Neelix's annoying ebullience.
Yes.
And he would be very grateful if you would assign him a duty. Any duty.
Somewhere else.
Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel the Doctor.
But so this sort of begins the brilliant strategy of this episode, which is all about getting you to love Tuvix.
Right, yes.
Because it wouldn't work otherwise. There was an original version of this script, which was much more sort of slapsticky.
Okay, yeah.
Right, comedy of errors and exploring all these foibles, and a version where he willingly separates. Right, he learns a lesson and he wants Tuvok and Neelix back. And when that arrived, when it was time to do something with this episode, the decision was made, I think, very wisely. No, let's make this tougher.
Yeah. So this is the scene where they figure out what happened, which is
it was a perfectly routine beam out sequence
until Tuvix, who's been quietly sort of pondering this, yells,
"Sex."
Sure.
Great way to get attention.
Yeah, I mean, usually people pay attention to that sort of thing. I mean, sex sells, so, yeah.
Certainly Janeway.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
And then he explains, hey, these flowers were a rare form of reproduction known as symbiogenesis, which
it's, possible.
Don't know that it exists on Earth. He describes these Andorian amoeba that can merge with other single-celled organisms to produce a new one, which makes me wonder, how did they make more of themselves?
Maybe they used the biomatter, extra biomatter.
But if it's a third species, then that's no longer an Andorian amoeba.
No, there's then 2 new ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Although, do you remember Farscape?
Yeah.
How we did a whole podcast about that?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the original ideas for Zan, the plant woman, was that her species reproduces via essentially something like this. So it's an all-female species. They can mate with males of any other species.
Right.
The offspring is her species, they're Delvian, but has traits of whatever the father happened to be.
Right.
And so every Delvian is female, and they all look a little bit different depending on their fatherhood.
They're all unique, and, some of them can be different cross-species, I guess, and therefore,
And 2 Delvians can also mate with one another, but they consider that culturally kind of a waste when you could have more interesting children.
Yes. Okay, yeah, sure.
Cool,
excellent.
right?
Yeah. So, for some reason, they have to wait for the next day because the weather on the planet gets rough.
Yeah, they want to get more samples. No, we've got to wait because it's tough when it's dark. It's not dark all over the planet.
No, although as you commented correctly, that orchid might be only in one particular place.
Yeah, if there's, I mean, if the planet even has continents, they don't all do.
Yeah, on the other hand, I mean, if the scanners can find micronutrients in a plant, then they sure as hell can find more of those plants.
I did say I consider that very stupid. I consider that in an episode full of scientific hand waving.
Yeah, true. Tuvix runs into Kes and offers to cook her dinner.
Actually,
if memory serves me, Wednesday's the day that Neelix always cooked trolly and crepes. Your favorite meal?
But arriving in the mess hall, it's chaos.
Somebody's eggs are burning.
Yep.
Can you flip them for me?
This is the definition of too many cooks spoiling the broth.
Everybody is cooking their own food or something because, nobody else does cooking when Neelix isn't there.
And they can't find a spatula.
Yeah. Amateurs.
Just let Hoshi do it. And she'll keep taking back the soup that she still doesn't think is perfect.
Oh, yes, that episode. But I was more commenting about the fact that spatulas, I mean, I have a wide variety of spatulas in my kitchen because I like to be able to grab one whenever I need one, so.
Yes, that's a completely valid approach. As an adult who works for his money, you can I have the same relationship with scissors.
Right, yeah.
I never have to look for scissors because there's literally 2 in every drawer.
Yeah.
Which is how you avoid the situation that you take one out of the drawer and wind up putting it in another drawer. So you have one drawer with 36 scissors.
Yeah.
No. I planned ahead. Tape measures also.
Oh, very good one, yes.
Yeah, right?
Do you mind telling me what's going on here, crewman?
We're making dinner.
I see.
Orders everybody out.
On whose authority?
Whose authority?
Chief of security or head chef. Take your pick. Out, out, out!
Oh, that's cool.
I want to do that one again.
Take your pick. Out, out, out!
I mean,
it's like torpedoes being fired. Out, out.
I mean, I know exactly how I feel. I get a little bit territorial in the kitchen as well.
Yeah, you're in my triangle.
Yeah,
right. I need to be able to turn around. Oh, and Phlox as well.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember when he was out?
Yeah, when he was trying to get to usher the aliens out. Yes, now.
And after the dinner rush, which one presumes Kes helped with, and she enjoyed the crepes. They have a
Especially
moment.
now that they're a little less spicy than Neelix used to make them.
Yes. Yes, and he asks about the mushrooms.
I thought more moderate seasoning will allow the flavor of the mushrooms to come through.
I love them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he comments on how much a disaster the kitchen was, how unorganized it was. So you see a little bit of a bit from one, bit from the other coming through.
Yeah. This was a weird bit because he says...
So when did Neelix ever found anything?
He says he has a system.
Which you know, right? Which is also part of your...
Which implies that he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or...
and he knows, and Tuvix knows this.
Yeah.
Like, no, Neelix was full of it. It's like he had no system whatsoever.
No, exactly. But then, I'm just thinking about this now. He doesn't say that.
No.
No, he doesn't sandbag Neelix in front of his girlfriend.
Captain. No, absolutely. But that might still make it true. That doesn't mean it's not true.
You're absolutely right. But now I'm thinking that's his relationship that he has with Neelix. Mm-hmm. Neelix and Tuvok, they're people that he was very close with, very intimate with, in a way, who are now no longer part of his life. But he still has respect for them. So, he'll make this remark that it's a wonder Neelix could find anything, which is, it was a little bit of stick. But he won't say, no, Neelix was a liar. Yeah. He lied to you the whole time.
Well, yes. It's a little bit of a heavy-handed way of saying that he just was bullshitting about having a system. But I see what you mean. It is more important, though, what he says that...
I know I'm not Neelix, but I can posit with complete certainty that if the situation were reversed, if suddenly he found himself without you in his life, he'd be absolutely lost.
To her vision, Neelix is gone, and he is, not Neelix. He's more than Neelix, I guess. So, it sets up the later scene where he suddenly professes his love to her,
which he already feels at this point. But it's a complicated subject that needs a lot of time to air.
He is just throwing himself into the work with wild abandon, because it seems that he is not only just doing the late dinner rush, he's also back at work at 4 a.m. to do his Tuvokian duties.
Yeah, he wanted to... Oh, let me see.
I wanted to work on that proximity detector glitch in the security subroutine.
Which he has already finished, despite Tuvok saying that it would take days to get through all the possibilities.
All the possible problems. But no, he finished it because he followed a hunch.
A hunch?
That's correct.
Yep.
Which, that's a... It is sometimes overstated in fiction, what a hunch does, but it is, your brain is doing all sorts of things that you aren't aware of.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I'm troubleshooting problems at work, almost always it's like, okay, this feels funny, and then you just go from there.
Yeah.
It's
and sometimes you're wrong.
Of course, lots of the times you're wrong, but it's still you start out with the hunches. You don't grab the manual and start on page 1 and see if everything's correct. You go okay, well, this kind of feels like, if I'm seeing this error, then that kind of feels like there's a problem in this area, and that's where we're going to start.
Yeah, that's the one I want to eliminate first.
Yeah.
Actually, this was also why scientists were experimenting with low dosages of LSD in the 60s.
Right.
Because it helped unlock certain pathways of thinking, because repeated disappointments disincline you to explore that possibility again.
Oh, yes.
Right? If I don't know, to use House, if it's never lupus, you don't look for lupus.
Right.
But it might be.
Yeah, yes. And since it's a dissociative, it helps you overcome that.
Frees you from that and lets your subconscious processing power, which forms your hunches, access pathways that otherwise would have been closed emotionally.
Transporter tests are being undertaken. Paris and B'Elanna go to the planet. They bring 2 flowers and they collect an orchid and they throw them all together and put them in the space blender transporter.
Just the regular transporter. It's a weird thought why those 2 are picked, but B'Elanna sort of lampshades that with...
I never thought the botanical science class would come in so handy.
Yeah. I mean, why not? I mean, I guess, why not? They're core cast, so core cast is always going to be sent off to do something, not Ensign Nobody. This
is one where Mr. Ayala gets a name. He's I think he's a background character who's he's appeared a lot in Star Trek Voyager. He's a very handsome man. I think he's also one of the stunt people.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they started doing on The Next Generation that was really effective, because you need lots of people in the background and sometimes you need stunt people and aliens.
Oh, right.
So you just have 20 people just on hand who are going to be hanging around for, however many months their contracts are. And sometimes you put them on uniforms and have them pushing buttons in the background. And sometimes you cover them in blood or they can be a corpse.
I mean, you'd think that stunt people are more expensive than regular background actors.
So this goes all over the place because some stunt training is something that you can have, and you can have other jobs as well.
Yeah.
Gates McFadden's body double. Chief, what was her name?
So that would be...
Nope, sorry, belay that. Patricia Tallman. I know her name.
Very good.
Why'd you call me if you just... I knew you knew this. Why would you... Okay, fine. Whatever. All right, I'm going to go back to just drinking from how depressing this episode is.
Who is also the actor who played the telepath Lita Alexander on Babylon 5.
Yeah.
And she's like a multi-black belt stunt person. So
nice.
Stunt person, body double. I think she holds the distinction of having been in more episodes of Star Trek than Gates McFadden. She's played Beverly Crusher more often.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
But also, you can just put her in a different wig in the background and she'll just be some random ensign. It's great.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
We've made over 100 attempts to reverse the symbiogenesis using the medical transporter. And each time, this has been the unfortunate result. Complete cellular collapse.
Yeah.
And he waves a dead plant around as to emphasize it.
Are you saying I'm going to be this way forever?
Yeah.
Well, there is not currently a treatment.
It could take months, even years, to find a solution. And we must face the possibility that this condition is simply untreatable.
And he also says, the doctor,
I feel as though I've lost 2 patients.
Yep.
Yeah. Because that's... his perspective is really underserved in this episode. Or at least, no. Well, I think it's interesting.
It's. I mean, the perspective is also the simplest.
Yes. Yeah. I will not participate in anything that causes harm.
Right, yeah.
And that's what this is. I don't quite know why Tuvix visits Kes now.
Good question.
Because it's at night, and she's contemplating these 2 candles, which he recognizes as...
Okampan prayer tapers.
For Tuvok and Neelix. And there she's able to tell him, if Tuvok had died, then Neelix would be here to comfort me.
Yeah.
And if Neelix had died, then Tuvok would be my spiritual, advisor.
And now I have neither.
Yeah.
I think he came here to profess his feelings to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he just notices that she's kind of in mourning, I suppose.
And he also observes...
But I remind you of what you've lost.
Yeah.
And now she suggests...
Maybe we can help each other get through this.
And that's what he's been helping.
Yeah. She throws him... she throws a few things at him. It's but what about your wife?
Yes, when he professes his love... Which he explains very, considerately.
I carry Tuvok's love for her inside me, and I would never ask you to forget Neelix.
Which is really complicated stuff. He has all these memories and feelings and experiences inside him, but they're weirdly integrated. It doesn't cause him conflict.
No. Guess he still considers himself to be in a relationship with Kes, although he does feel the need to specifically restate that. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but...
I mean, he also is distinct from Neelix. He knows that that Neelix was in a relationship with Kes, and he respects that, but he also has those same feelings.
Right.
And he has Neelix's emotional flexibility and Tuvok's rational compartmentalization, which help him resolve.
Yeah, we may never get back to the Alpha Quadrant. We're working hard to get there, but we might never get back there. So as far as he knows, he might not even actually see T'Pel at all.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but the other relationship can still be made to work.
And feeling love for 2 distinct people
Also,
when he's a distinct person is completely valid.
Yeah.
He's breaking no oaths. He wasn't allowed to make them.
Very true, yeah. But yes, he apologizes.
I should have controlled my emotions.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a very Tuvok thing to say, of course, but...
But he insists that...
All I really came to say is that I'll be here for you if you need me.
Yes, she doesn't, because she immediately goes running to Janeway.
Yes. Which is... I'd forgotten that they had a relationship that was, you don't see a lot of relationships between 2 women mean, this doesn't pass the Bechdel test because they're immediately talking about boys, of course.
True, yes.
But she's wearing a lovely nightie.
She does. She is, yes.
And she welcomes the company.
Yes, they have a little chat.
He said that he loves me. I suppose I can see how that's possible, given the circumstances.
I wasn't sure what to say. At first, I was angry. But I know how he's trying to comfort me, and I know that he feels alone, too.
And Janeway also gets to share, I've also lost, Tuvok was one of her oldest friends.
Yeah.
Right? An incredibly important person in her life. And she liked Neelix.
Yeah, well, no counting for taste.
Boo.
Oh my God, if you were on Voyager and you were around the likes of Harry Kim and Tom Paris and Chakotay and you were huffing workahol all day, wouldn't you just love going to whatever they call 10 Forward and just hanging out with the chef?
I guess. I don't know, man. Good chefs can still be annoying, yeah?
Yeah, but everyone else is boring. They're all so
I don't know.
boring.
The Kim Tone seemed like a fun girl. And besides, I'd probably go skydiving with Balana or something.
Oh, yeah, because that was a healthy phase of her life that you should definitely encourage. We need more fun recommendations from Voyager. Can we do the other Fairhaven one? I know that it's freaking racist to Irish people, but oh God, I'd rather have that.
Anyway, yes. So she talks about her husband as well, which she knows that she's missing, of course, and has to confront that he might not return to her life, which is essentially the same argument that Tuvok has for his wife. It's might be years, might be never.
Which, for a Vulcan, they live significantly longer than humans.
Yes.
So that idea...
He might be older. We don't know.
He is older? Let me see.
It was not kind of a running gag where we don't talk about how old Tuvok is.
He's in his 60s, and he would be elderly for a Vulcan, but, not very advanced age.
Right.
If it took 70 years to get home.
Right.
Right, that wouldn't be the remainder of his life. For every human here, none of them would live.
Right, exactly, yeah.
To be 70, well.
No. I mean, yeah, because Vulcans do 200-ish, isn't it that?
Thereabouts.
Yeah, because that's about how old Spock is, and by the time the TNG comes around, he's pushing that.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right.
Well, it's probably about 150, assuming that he's in his 50s or so when they're doing the original series.
But it proceeds after that. He makes it to the Kelvin universe.
Right. I still don't know what that is.
Farther in the future. J.J. Abrams films.
Oh, that one, yes.
They're named after the USS Kelvin. That's the first ship to encounter.
Okay, right,
Rana.
yes.
But yeah, I'd forgotten that Janeway got to have this scene with Cass and sort of express to her that
you're experiencing what people on this crew have been going through since we first got stranded in this quadrant.
Yeah.
Do we accept that we're separated from our loved ones forever? Or do we hold on to the hope that someday we'll be with them again?
And as someone who's on Team Tuvix, because I have a particular opinion about this trolley problem.
Right, yeah.
That made me think about that again for a moment. They're extremely isolated, and the people that they're with, those are the only loved ones that they can really...
Yeah, that's the only family, friends and family they'll have.
Which really exacerbates the problem, which really, it makes the loss of these two people way more extreme for them than it would be for people in our situation. We have plenty of friends. We have loads of people to go through for these problems. And yes, we miss those that we lose, but we also live in a bigger world than the people on Voyager.
Yeah. So you can come to me whenever you need. My door is always open. That's a terrible security practice.
And they and they hug. Which is a very rare, physical expression of friendship and intimacy on Star Trek.
Especially from the captain. Who should, you can argue if she should maintain her distance, but she does, usually.
Yes, yeah. I think it was sort of stated in the first episode that she wanted to be closer to her crew than captains usually are.
Yes.
But I think you're right. In practice... She
kind of still has to.
Yep.
Whew, okay, this is a heavy episode, and we're gonna be getting into the really heavy part of it in just a little bit here. But as a little bit of just a precursor before we get into that, we do have a clip from this month's Patreon exclusive episode in which we discussed Move Along Home together. We broke through the temporal vortex. So here's just a little clip from that to give you just a little bit of a taste, and also to maybe just bring some levity back into this very serious, very heavy episode. Why do we keep having depressing Voyager episodes? Come on, people. Here's a clip.
Dad, you're
messing up my name. He's really got young Simba vibes here, right?
I suppose he does a little bit, yes.
There are some things you've got to know.
Oh, and he's got real Mufasa vibes.
Oh, yeah? And who told you?
This CNN.
No, but dude, think about this. If this is Simba and Mufasa from The Lion King, who's everyone else on DS9?
We were just talking.
Oh, well, that's tricky.
Kira is Zazu.
I was going to go for
Garrick
Odo.
and Bashir are
Timon and Pumbaa. Right? Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, but which one's Timon and which one?
A Vulcan ship has made contact.
Yeah, no. Obviously, Timon is Garrick.
We're expecting a delegation from the
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have done the.
I went through the same thing. Oh, it could be either because he's got a British accent. No.
I would have done the reverse. I've done Pumbaa's Garrick.
Yeah.
First date with a girl.
But Pumbaa's a good-hearted, honest.
Yes.
Right? He's honest.
Go ahead.
That's like his whole thing, and that's like very much not Garrick's thing.
I guess Kira is not Nala, maybe?
Cisco out.
Oh.
That would mean... Yeah, not Nala. Not Nala.
I mean,
Sarabi,
you're thinking adult Nala, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But
But Sarabi, adult
like,
Nala, sort of the same.
Nala and wow, Nala.
She's Rafiki. Jadzia is Rafiki.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is 100% Rafiki.
Yeah, totally. She sees the humor in everything. She paints on people's faces.
Listen to me. This is no dress rehearsal.
I don't know.
This is the real
I don't know. Multiple people can be the same sort of archetype.
But I want things to go right from
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about painting on people's faces, that's what we're going to see in a second with the Wadi.
Very good point, yes.
Yeah. Just kind of remind everyone of the Simba.
I guess that would make the Ferengi the hyenas.
Oh, yeah, that's very good.
Oh, I love that. And that was a clip from the Patreon exclusive episode. If you go to joyoftrek.com/links, you can find the link to our Patreon so you can support us if you want to, if you're able to. I know times are tough, so if you're not able to, there is no pressure. The show will always remain free. This is just a bonus way to help us, and you get an exclusive episode every single month. And as thank you for helping us out. Now, back to the episode.
Back coming from the break.
Yes.
It's been 2 weeks since the transporter accident that created Mr. Tuvix, and while it's still not entirely clear that he's with us permanently, he's certainly been doing his best to settle in.
Yeah. Cue a bit of play on how much has he been doing? How he's been doing so great. He's taken all of his duties,
professionally excelled.
He's cooking better than Neelix was.
Yeah, that's the big one. You know, he's getting on well with the crew. Everyone seems to like him, and
my taste buds are definitely happy to have him around.
Yes. But all is not well. I mean, all is well in paradise, but the Doctor has developed a theory.
And he interrupts Harry Kim's beautiful clarinet rendition of Chief, what is this music?
So that would be Johannes Brahms' Clarinet Sonata in E-flat major number 2.
But yes, the Doctor has thought up a way, but he might have something that it's a bit of a lead that's being buried here. No, that's not the right word. It's just like
what do you mean?
He just asks a question of Kim, like, could this theoretically be possible? And then goes like, well, bye then. No, I'm not going to tell you what it is.
That's
I'm just
going to.
Yeah, I'm going to think about this for a bit.
Which is valid, right? He asks the question.
Yeah. Suppose I found a radioisotope that could selectively attach itself to specific DNA sequences.
And, like, would the equipment be able to do this? And, yeah, Harry Kim asks what's going on, but he says...
It's pure speculation at this
But
point.
he's on his way and immediately runs off to sickbay to go help him.
Meanwhile, Tuvix is hustling Poole in the...
He's slaughtering Chakotay and Paris.
in Sandrines, the holographic representation of, I think, Marseille.
Yeah.
A city in France whose chief
program?
export I'm currently admiring.
Actually, is that from Marseille, Ricard?
No. Like, pastis is enjoyed throughout France,
Yes.
but in Marseille, they enjoy it with a 4-to-1 ratio of water.
Oh, right, yes.
Hence, lait de Marseille, because it's milky
Right.
appearance. And yeah, he's absolutely destroying them. And Chakotay confides to Tom,
We've created a monster.
the other way around. Oh my God. That's kind of grim. And Kess walks in and very subtly just jerks her head.
Very
like
subtly.
That. Yeah.
Wow. She's just like nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Hello. Tuvix gets the message and excuses himself from the game. But, yeah, to have a little sit down with Kess, who at this point professes that she would...
And I'd like our friendship to grow.
Yeah. Because it was also mentioned during the montage and the monologue that he's made a point of giving Kess lots of space.
Yes.
So she can work out her feelings for herself, which I remember at the time being quite confused by. And I was a 14-year-old boy watching this, and I think I barely figured out I was gay. But yeah, like how relationship worked was still quite alien to me. But looking back on it, I mean, he's done the checklist. He's said how he feels. He's also said what's important to him.
Yeah.
Right? You're important to me, and if you need me, I will be here. I happen to also love you, but I can separate those.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then he backs away. Now it's up to you.
Now you can figure it out for yourself, and I'll be here when you do
Yeah.
so. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Which is great. So he's excited to hear that she would like this relationship to grow, and that'll take time. And he says,
I'm not going anywhere.
No.
Which is immediately followed by...
Doctor to Lieutenant Tuvix.
Yes.
Oh my God, this broke my heart. Knowing where this is going. Oh.
So the doctor has come up with something, which is like, okay, so I don't understand why they didn't just go get Tuvix's Tuvok's hairbrush and Neelix's tasting spoon, take a little bit of DNA sample from those of that, like program the transporter to based on those DNA patterns to just pull them apart.
Yeah.
I mean, it works for age-reversing effects when you're being attacked by some other alien's DNA effect.
Do it. Yes. Yeah. The immune children of super children.
Exactly.
That's right.
That's the one, which was done for Pulaski, I believe. Is
very good. Kay. Oh, you should do a Star Trek podcast knowing all this. I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. But yes, no.
But his solution is something similar to a technology that is still in use today.
Yes.
The radioactive properties of the barium made the lining of the intestines visible with a primitive imaging technology called X-rays.
Yeah.
And you
can see B'Elanna standing in the background. I actually still used to inspect inspect wells. It's not that fun.
It is regrettably possible to have severely adverse reactions to certain contrasting fluids.
Yes, I can imagine.
My late mother-in-law had that. That is not the reason why she's late, but she had some significant health difficulties and complications as a result of this contrast fluid, for which people are not routinely tested because it is so vanishingly rare.
Oh.
And the tests are very difficult and expensive.
Right, yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah. So, yes, I mean, isn't it wonderful? There's a solution, but everybody is happy and joyous, like, yes, we have solved the problem, except there's one person who's not quite so enthusiastic about this.
Who says that there's one factor that they haven't accounted for, and that is...
I don't want to die.
Boom! And suddenly, this episode is elevated.
Right, you can see the look of dawning realization on Janeway's face, who's like, shit, I hadn't considered that part yet.
Yeah.
You can see it just like...
Yes, absolutely. You're completely right. She's been thinking about all these problems about getting her friends back and dealing with this new person. She hadn't considered that he wouldn't want to participate.
Yes, that he's become so much of a unique person that, he doesn't want to go away. And this this actually comes back in the immediate, well, not quite, but it's very mirrored in the immediate scene afterwards where she's talking to Chakotay and she asks,
So at what point did he become an individual and not a transporter accident?
Arguably, at the moment that it occurred.
Yes.
But I agree with how she opens it with, like if you had the ability to separate Tuvok and Neelix at the moment Tuvix came aboard, she wouldn't have hesitated. I think neither would Tuvix.
Yes.
I think
he wouldn't have had time to think about.
Yeah, I think at that point Tuvix would still have gone like, yeah, this is clearly an accident. We need to undo this, because he's still coming to grips with the whole two sets of memories. Just from the way he introduces himself, I'm Tuvok and I'm Neelix, and it's like
right, exactly that.
Yeah,
because he hasn't been Tuvix yet.
Exactly.
He hasn't thought about himself. No, I absolutely agree. Like whether he should be afforded those rights,
right? That's
indeed a different question. But yeah, this is an interesting test that I also like to perform about these moral quandaries, right? What if time flowed in a different direction? What if the time was different? Would we still come to the same decisions?
Right.
Which I think is a really valuable test for like ethical problems.
Well,
by the end of this episode, we have 3 deaths.
Uh-huh.
Tuvok and Neelix, who died by accident, and Tuvix, who died by murder.
Yeah. Except Neelix and Tuvok aren't dead anymore.
They're brought back.
Yeah.
But that doesn't sort of negate that they did die.
Right. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And in a just universe, there would be no murder, only accidental and natural deaths.
Yes. Well, I can see that argument. On the other hand, like, you don't go ahead and shoot the second Riker the moment he appears in the transport tracks.
No, I don't think that's what Riker thought. Like, the first time he saw, he was like, oh, I haven't oiled my trombone in a while. And hey, for the listeners at home, our beloved listeners who think, oh, we have stuff to say. Oh my God, it is, I swear to God, it's not that we don't want to hear from you. We absolutely do. But there are so many of you. Should we invite them to like engage with us on the socials? I think we're on Blue Sky mostly these days.
Oh, yes. You can always, we can't stop them from seeking us out.
No, that's true. But also, hey, I'm very bad at the socials. Talk to some other Trek fans, like put on...
Discuss among yourselves.
Discuss among yourself and have fun with it. And, that's the thing that we want to, like, I think this is a great episode because it got people talking about it so much.
Absolutely. So, Tuvix is summoned into Janeway's quarters with Chakotay, and he walks in and is like, he immediately...
I feel as though I've been dragged in front of the Numerian Inquisition.
And she's like, well, that's a bit harsh, but we've been discussing the unfortunate predicament that we're facing.
Oh my God.
And we'd like to hear your opinion on it.
I would want your opinion before making a decision. And he says...
Are you suggesting that this is your decision to make?
Which is, yeah.
Yeah. She says she's the captain of the ship, and he says, it's my life.
Yeah, isn't it my decision?
And he's so modest here.
Yeah.
But also, like, uncompromising.
And Janeway argues, like, well, we have to consider the other 2 lives, which, yes, which in your viewpoint is they are already dead at this point.
Correct. That's my... Yeah.
Which that can't fault your logic. I'm not sure if I emotionally agree, but
no,
it's...
right. You can, because this is morality, right? It's not just logic. It's also like a system of values and what you think is important and how you make that consistent with each other, right? If you discover that permanently, like deactivating the EMH will somehow magically revive 2 people who died 2 years ago, right? Would you do that? Would you consider it the same? Time is a factor. The fact that it was 2 weeks, which is enough to bond, but not enough to replace a 10-year friendship.
No, absolutely. It's that's why that's what I think the importance from that scene between Chakotay and the captain earlier about to how to separate out that particular discussion.
I'm here, alive. Unfortunate as it may be, they're gone.
She adds that they had families and friends.
Yeah.
Who she's also, which...
It's a bit disingenuous to get those involved. That's
I've heard that before, which I think is from people who interpret that she's trying to guilt trip him into agreeing.
Uh-huh.
But she's taking on the responsibility. She says that as captain, she's responsible.
Right.
She must be the voice for Tuvok and Neelix, and also for the interests of their families.
Mm.
And that I think is a really powerful argument, because I haven't been a captain. I don't know what it's like to...
No, true.
Because captains make life and death decisions, and they also think about, when they send someone on a suicide mission, they think about whether that person has children, dependents, elderly, all that. But he doesn't take the bait.
No.
Tuvix says...
What you're considering is an execution.
The very first in Star Trek history.
Yes. Oh, is it true? They never execute anybody?
So it was said on Memory Alpha that we have never witnessed a Starfleet execution.
Right. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, she throws back at him, is like...
Then you know Tuvok was a man who would gladly give his life to save another. And I believe the same was true of Neelix.
This is where I do disagree with Janeway, and I think she's playing a false argument by accusing him of...
Aren't you arguing for an execution, too? Of Tuvok and Neelix?
Right, but that's already done.
Yes.
Yeah, it's... Well,
they weren't executed.
Yeah, it's...
They died in the line of duty like many officers have done for you before. It was an unfortunate accident. No one was to blame for that.
Yeah. It's an interesting question, yes. But yes, he denies, says like, well, you're right, that is the Starfleet way to do things, but... And then, unfortunately, they go to Shakespeare.
Okay, yeah, the quote from, oh, Chief, which play was it?
So I'm not finding anything directly about it. The only thing that I could be thinking of that you might be referring to here would be The Merchant of Venice, because this is very reminiscent of Shylock's heartbreaking monologue that he gives of hath not a Jew eyes, hath not a Jew ears, hath not a Jew like blood in his veins, yada, like just really about just Shylock's humanity and all that stuff. Although the play also then kind of undermines it still, so it's like great. Oh, I guess Shylock is... Oh, that's a not fun comparison. Why is this episode so depressing? Why is everything about this episode just more depressing? And then even when I think of comparisons, it's also depressing. I hate this. I hate this.
It basically all boils down to...
And I have the right to live.
Yeah.
Which is the most undeniable one, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's...
Yeah.
I mean, he is here now, and yeah.
There's... Yeah, like fundamentally, can you deprive someone of their life for any reason is a question that a legal system has to answer.
Yeah. Tuvix goes running to Kes, pleading, oh no, like they're going to kill me.
Yeah.
And can you please go talk to the captain?
She'll listen to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kes is, she don't like that, because she does indeed go talk to the captain, but to argue the exact opposite of what he just asked her.
Argue? I don't know. I think she's coming to her as a confidant, because she says what's true. She says...
Tuvix has asked me to speak to you on his behalf.
Yeah.
But I can't.
And Tuvix doesn't deserve to die.
But I want Neelix back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So... I mean, okay, so she is, in fact, willing to, kill Tuvix to get Neelix back.
She's not, I think, willing to make that decision. I think you can have conflicting desires.
Sure, yeah.
Right, that you don't know how to resolve. And you can go to someone whose responsibility it is to make those decisions. That's Janeway. Like, you're the decision maker. I have these feelings and desires. Can you do anything with it? Can you fix it? Mrs. Super Jesus?
And she's like, oh, well, great now.
And they hug again, which I always like to see.
Small continuity error here, but that's fine.
Wait, what?
Oh, Tuvix comes walking into the bridge and goes like...
Mr. Paris, what is our present speed?
Warp 6.5.
I'd like to conduct a field test of the aft sensor array. Please, slow to impulse.
Tom Paris looks at him, looks at Chakotay, goes like, am I supposed to still be following orders? Which Chakotay immediately puts a foot down, like... He's still the lieutenant. He still has his job until.
Yeah, like as for I don't know that it's continuity. I think his shift just started.
Oh no, the continuity error comes now because he says like he asks him to slow to impulse, and Chakotay tells him to do it. But then as we cut to Janeway's ready room, they're still at warp.
Yes, you're right. Oh my god. Oh, where's the button for all the weapons? Did we have all that? Well, I've got shields. Yeah, I've got...
I'm coming, Neelix!
Oh, God. Well, wait, what does this one do?
I feel strange, but also good.
What? When did I put that in?
I don't see it.
You don't see it?
No.
In the sound effects panel.
Yeah. What's it called?
Strange. It's the last one.
Oh,
it's
right.
After coming.
No, you're right, yes.
Here, you press it. See if it sounds any different.
I feel strange, but also good.
Oh my God, that's Wesley.
Oh, right.
That's Wesley when he had the polywater. Oh, wow. What a time to discover a new sound effect. As Janeway, and hey, props to Cliff Bole for how this is filmed. Sort of.
Oh, right, yeah. There's a lot of very good tracking shots of Janeway in this episode.
She's quietly looking out of the window.
Yeah.
She's come to a decision. She walks up to the bridge and
pauses once more. And, yep, this is the moment of... Yes.
And goes to Tuvix and says...
I'd like to speak to you alone.
And Tuvix infers that she's come to a decision and says...
I think we all should hear what you have to say.
And she's like, no, come with me, please. I'm ordering you to come with me, please. Then security to the bridge. Because, like, Tuvix is not having any of it. I mean, he rightfully goes into a panic.
Yeah. Yeah, because what would you do? Suddenly your personhood is stripped from you while you're standing there.
Yeah.
And he's standing in the company of people that he's befriended over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he goes...
Commander, you're going to stand by and do nothing while she commits murder.
Kind of surprised he doesn't grab for the phaser that he's duct taped to the bottom of his console. In fact, that might be my deleted scene.
He names Mr. Ayala, who doesn't respond. He goes to Lieutenant Paris, right, with whom he's played many games of pool.
Yeah.
And all these people are blank-faced because all of them have been dealing with the same problem. And as Janeway pointed out, they've all been dealing with this question for 2 years.
Oh, yes.
Do I let go of people who are gone, or do I hang on to the hope that they're still here?
Yes.
And they all have their own answer to it, but like all of them, the idea that they can have someone back that they thought they're lost.
Yeah, they've lost a lot more people in the meantime, and they would love to have them back. So yeah, that's...
Yeah, we can't imagine what that's like, from our life experience.
Yeah.
And with no one responding, which is such a harsh thing.
Doesn't anyone see that this is wrong?
And he even tries to make a run for it, which is easily solved by the security officers.
Who just happened to be walking in right at that. Oh no, they actually came in earlier, but they managed to grab him and hold him still. And he seems to come to terms with his fate.
Yep. The captain orders them to let him go so he can stand there, and lets him speak. And what he says is...
Each of you is going to have to live with this.
And...
Yep.
I forgive you.
Yeah.
And I think he's sincere.
Oh, yes.
I think he really is.
Yes, I do believe so. I don't think he's trying to guilt trip them into changing their opinion at the last moment.
No.
Also, I mean, it's not even their choice. It's still Janeway's, who very good takes on the full brunt of the responsibility here.
Yes.
She doesn't not an inch and not a fleck of light between their in that decision.
Yeah. And she doesn't command anybody else to do it. She walks him down to the sick bay where the doctor
goes like, nope, not doing it. Like,
yep.
I will not make it a hypocritical
I am a
oath.
physician, and a physician must do no harm. I will not take Mr. Tuvix's life against his will.
Right, get out of the way then, I'll do it.
Yep.
He grabs the injector, shoots up Tuvix. Very quick woody working isotope, by the way, attaching itself to all the spreading through his body and like attaching it to all the relevant DNA everywhere.
Yeah, I'm not entirely comfortable with how this scene operates because she's a trained scientist and like she walks in knowing that she's going to perform Starfleet's first execution ever
on screen.
And she says,
I assume this is the radioisotope.
Yeah.
Which she didn't check for herself, and he also doesn't verify
it. Yes.
Like, even if she's done her homework, unlike some people, and studied how long it would take, like, that's still something you should check.
But yes, she injects him with that. She also operates the transporter herself.
Yep. And we get a really cool special effect where he starts dissolving in the transporter effect, and two other people start dissolving and resolving next to him.
There's a little sneaky because at first it looks like it's going to be Tuvok on the left and Neelix on the right, and then
they're all swapping. They're all fading back and forth between Tom Wright and Ethan Phillips and Tim Russ. It's brilliant.
And we end up with Tuvok and Neelix sitting both in Star Trek uniform. Interesting. That had me puzzled for a moment because, like, apparently the flower also merges clothes on a cellular level. It's like
why the fuck not?
The famous DNA from the synthetic uniforms that they're wearing. You know?
Yep. It was a beautiful blend of like Neelix's colorful outfits.
Quark would have been jealous.
Yes, I think so. And actually, maybe some patterns from the flowers. No, I don't think so. I think it was just Neelix's clothes and Tuvok's. But since then, Tuvix has just been wearing Starfleet uniforms.
Right, yes.
And
Kes is delighted to have Neelix back.
And Neelix immediately runs to her.
Yes.
Hello, sweeting.
Sweeting. I never got that before, that's what he calls her.
Yes. Huh. Tuvok is his usual stoic self. Hello, Captain.
And she says, Mr. Tuvok, Mr. Neelix.
It's good to have you back.
Yep. And another, cut scene on the basically shot of Janeway walking out and...
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Kate Mulgrew in just this shot. The resolve, the despair, the weight of, she knows she's going to have to carry this for the entire crew.
Yep.
And the decision's been made, and she's got to move on because tomorrow is another fucking day on this ship where every day someone has an emotional crisis.
Another fucking day.
Oh my God, it's a hell ship, this. Fine.
I'm still a fucking captain. I'm still on this fucking ship.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, that was a fun one. Thank you, Alex Russet. I say that absolutely with genuine appreciation.
Okay, so question.
Yes.
What do you think of the fact that they didn't have Tuvok or Neelix say anything?
Right.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if that's I wonder if they filmed any of that, or if that would have strengthened or weakened the episode.
See, I was thinking this throughout the episode. Oh, that should be my deleted scene that I want to do, but no.
What are they going to say? Yeah.
And also, it never comes up again at any point in Voyager. It's just completely gone.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shame, but also, you would have to have multiple episodes to just deal with how everybody feels about
the
Tuvix situation. But, yeah, Tuvok and Neelix don't have a say. They weren't here.
No. But they have, presumably they have the memories of Tuvix, just like Tuvix had the memories of them.
Yes, but they're not Tuvix.
No.
So they had no agency while they were dead.
Right.
Their consent wasn't needed for anything that happened while they were dead. So
but they could still have an opinion.
Yes, they can definitely have opinions, but I think it was narratively the right decision to end without them, because they wouldn't be adding, they've got no regrets, they've got no. They weren't a part of this story.
True. Yeah.
But it would be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
What do you think they feel?
Oof. That's. I think that'd be. It depends on how much they like being Tuvix.
Yeah. I think we're back to being a comedy podcast.
Yeah.
I think both of them have some strong opinions about how their workstations are organized.
Yes.
And Neelix wants to go back and just yeeting his spatulas back hither, thither, and yon.
Yes. Oh my God, my secret's out. I had no sister.
God, it's better. It's better. And now he's even more in love with Tuvok than he already was.
What? Was he?
Neelix.
Suppose,
Neelix is crazy for Tuvok. It's like, I once saw a video, I know, unlikely animal friend videos, but some of them are real. And it was this fennec fox and this cat.
Oh, yeah.
Where you can tell from the cat's sort of brusque disinterest, but tolerance, that it's crazy about this fennec.
Yeah.
But the fennec is triple crazy about the cat.
And hyper. And
yes.
The cat's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And it's like, yeah. But the fact that the cat allows it means that the cat's
exactly
totally
that.
Yes, exactly.
Right, a cat expressing love is just tolerating all this, and because that's how they want to be near someone. And a fennec's way of expressing love is to just sort of quantum tunnel all over the place and running over and we'll do everything together.
I'd like to see a sable martin and a fennec together in the room. That would be pure cyclone of...
I don't think we have quantum sensors capable of recording such a scene. I think that's a little bit too close to superluminal. But what do you think they would have to say?
Well, that's what... like I said, it depends on how they feel about it. It's I think they're grateful for being back, but on the other hand, I don't know. I don't think I know the characters well enough to put myself in their minds to see to what conclusion they would come to. Yeah, Neelix. I mean, you get the whole thing, especially with Tuvok. You know, they got the whole sacrifice to make themselves for someone else. But I think especially Tuvok would see it that like, well, yes, I too would have gladly sacrificed my life.
Oh
for
my
his.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Because my thing with manipulating time also works the other way around.
Right. Yeah.
Right. If they just encountered this alien whose existence depended on them sacrificing their life, would they be willing to?
Right.
They might not necessarily be willing
No.
to, but there are circumstances in which they would do so.
Right. Yes.
You know, they would lay down their lives for the sake of a stranger who is beloved by some.
Yeah.
There are
Neelix, I don't know. I mean, I don't have a very high opinion of Neelix in the first place, so I'll...
I do.
Yeah.
He's just this little guy. He's something we don't see enough of in Star Trek, just someone who's living his life.
Right, yes. Oh, no, that's not... I don't have a problem with that. I just find his mannerisms irritating.
Yes, so you wouldn't be friends with him. That's
no,
fine.
exactly. That's...
I think I would.
Yeah. I mean, I might like... might like to cook with him, to get some like cooking tips from him at sometimes, or give some to him, depending on.
Oh, you know what? I think you actually would like Neelix, because I don't think he would be so hyper to you, because he wouldn't need to be, because you're already fun.
Okay.
And nobody else is, and he's so desperate to force. Can you just be a little more fun, and then I won't have to pressure you so much.
Very good, very good. Speaking of,
oh yes,
fun. What do you think?
So fucking cool.
Honestly, this whole episode, the chutzpah of writing a story like this and going, you know, it has to be tougher. It has to be tougher. And even though we all know that Tuvok and Neelix are going to come back, yeah, this could have been a slapstick episode.
Right, yes.
And instead it's one that we're still talking about today and 20 years from now, right? Even if the golden era of Star Trek that we currently live in, I hope it doesn't happen, but comes to an end and fades from memory, people are still going to be arguing about Tuvix. And that's brilliant.
All right.
How about you?
We'll go have to makeup and costume department for the work they did on Tuvix. Because I thought that was brilliant. That was absolutely marvelous.
Would have loved to see more of that uniform.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Very pretty.
Very much so. But I especially love the long wispy hair and the what they did with the subtle hints in of the colored cheek ruffs that Neelix has. And yes, the actor is also a very handsome man, and I love what they did with him. It's like he sounded a little bit like what's face Mufasa at sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not quite so deep, but very much that manner of speaking.
And it brilliantly came together because, like, for the first half of the episode, you're constantly seeing, like, oh, I see a little bit of Tuvok there.
Right,
I see a little bit of Neelix.
Exactly.
And by the end, you just see Tuvix.
Yes. Very well done. So, yes, we always have a talk about a scene which has been left on the cutting room floor.
Supposedly.
This log, supplemental.
And imagine the scene. What happened? I mean, I already told you mine. It's like it's Tuvix grabbing the phaser that he duct taped underneath the underneath the console, waving it around, backing out, stealing the. Oh no, they hadn't made the Delta Flyer yet. It was like he's taking one of the shuttles out of the shuttle assembly.
Oh my God, that's brilliant! Because you wouldn't have to point it at anyone.
Oh,
he'd point it under his chin.
Oh yeah, very good point. Yes,
you're going to kill me anyway.
Yes, yeah,
right?
Good point. Yeah. It's I believe in a somewhat racist terminology for that in the United States is a Polish hostage situation.
Oh God! No, but like
I get it. Yeah.
Game theoretically, it's brilliant because whatever I do, I'm dead.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But also, now that I'm holding this to my chin, whatever happens, whether you kill me or I kill myself, Tuvok and Neelix are dead.
Yeah, they're not coming back. Yeah.
You're going to let me take that shuttle and get out of here.
Yeah, I mean,
whoa!
Exactly. I mean, I've brought it up as a humorous thing, but it's actually
incredible.
Gives a very good
Because would that make Tuvix a murderer? Right? He's not holding Tuvok and Neelix hostage because he's already. I don't consider Tuvok and Neelix to be alive.
Right? Yeah,
I'm alive.
Yeah,
I'm just choosing how I want to die. At your hands for some bullshit that I don't agree with, or at my hands as a person who gets to decide how his life ends. Oh my God, Kay, that's amazing.
Wow, yeah.
I want to do this episode again with that in mind.
Oh, okay. Well.
Whoa.
Maybe we need a different timeline for that.
And so now I have to follow this?
Well, sorry.
That's a little... Oh no, I've got one. And it is business as usual. Everything is fine. We go into the next episode, except she starts to notice over the course of the next season that, nobody misses their shift. Nobody's late. There's never a speck of dust anywhere. Nobody ever disagrees with her in a meeting. Everyone's performance is exemplary, and they're all living in constant terror because they now know my captain will kill.
Yeah.
Whoever she... No! I can't even finish it. No! Oh, God.
Right.
No, it's sort of like, do you see that Twilight Zone episode where there was like a little boy who could just change reality? And then his parents decided that it was always his birthday and they were always praising him. And then his sister freaked out and he made her disappear and got eaten by a cartoon monster. And then her photo disappeared, she disappeared from the photos and everyone went on with their lives.
That's a terrific thought. Yes, I mean that's what the Twilight Zone always did very well.
Yeah,
they get some very grim. All right, so we have another little thing where
yes,
we have
next time on an all-new episode of Star Trek,
where the chief has laid out a little breadcrumb trail of clues for us, which will hopefully lead us to guessing what next week's episode, or actually the episode in 2 weeks, will be.
Yes, next week we'll be telling another story.
Yes.
I've really been enjoying these.
The story, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we started doing this as a way to sort of balance our schedule and keep production consistent, and then the chief keeps finding these bangers, and it's
these
so much
stories,
fun.
Yes. And we get to do silly voices.
And then I keep meaning to listen more to the actors and try to impersonate them better because I can sort of do that. No, I don't. And if you would like to make a recommendation, you can go to joyoftrek.com/links, which is available to everyone. I know that we always follow it by saying, hey, and you can also go to the Patreon and support us there and get a bonus episode.
It's an open webpage. Anybody can submit. Anybody can suggest. You don't have to be a Patreon follower. You don't have to be a lemon-stealing whore for that.
Yeah, you can be just like Alex Russet, but maybe unlike people who've been recommending Voyager episodes lately, you can just recommend something a little bit more fun.
They're just doing it to torture us now.
I know. Why? I've been so good. I finished all my vegetables all week.
I mean, hey, look, at this point, if we keep getting more depressing Voyager episodes, and they're all good episodes, that's the problem. They're all really good episodes, but they're all so depressing. I think the next person that sends us a